How was the kind of the emotion and the change around that? Must be buzzing. One of the great days in the club.
Yeah, I think we kind of built towards it all across the week, and we were very honest with ourselves on Monday, and we addressed the learnings we took from the previous year and fueled how much belief we have within this squad. And so, we kind of sit after this game, and part of me is not that surprised in a way, because of I know what this group's capable of, and I know what we have within our group, and I think ultimately we probably turned up today and proved a point to ourselves, but also a lot of people, and so that means quite a lot, yeah.
And does coming here, obviously, quickly move on. Now you're in the final. Does this kind of give you a belief that you can?
Yeah, I think so. I think we talked at the start of last year, to be honest, before our sort of European run last year, about the opportunities that playing this competition gives you. And I think last year we saw that really in Croke Park. That was a special occasion. That was a special venue. We talked about the history of that, and Dingers just alluded to it there in terms of the experience we took forward as a learning opportunity for the semi-final against Saracens and the final against Bath, and then clearly today as well. And so to get to the final this year is a step further, and we want to make sure that we take the opportunity we enjoyed tonight, clearly, and we'll do that properly. And the changing room is probably a reflection of that at the moment. But we've also got to make sure we do the right thing for Exeter, we do the right thing for Saracens, and we're set up to go to Cardiff with full of confidence and full of energy as well.
Most teams when they're in the Champions Cup, the sort of theme has been that English teams have struggled in the final quarter. When you see guys like Barrett coming off the bench, what's the messaging to say that you're not? What were you saying to not get spooked by that? Actually,
I think ultimately, they've obviously got an incredible team of players, and they've got loads of unbelievable individuals who are playing a lot of good rugby. So have we. That was kind of my message the whole week. They've got internationals, so have we. They've got good players, so have we. And I think that's something that rang really true today, which is kind of the foundation of us as a squad and a club, is our connection. And I think you don't find many clubs with better connection amongst lads on and off the pitch. And so, if you're turning up to play against a team of whoever, if you're tightly knitted enough, it doesn't really matter who you're playing against. Things fall away when you're under a lot more pressure, but things that stay true are bonds you have with people, and that's what we have abundance of, really.
Regardless of who they have on the bench, we can't do anything about that. So the only action that's important is the action of our players and how we perform and how we execute our individual jobs. So Dinger's got a job in what he does, both from a technical, tactical point of view, but from an emotional point of view as a leader. Freeman's got a job to do in his role as well. And so, there's only one option, and that's to go and compete.
What's your view of that the final thing of a touch flag? Tommy was in close proximity.
What was your view of that, Tommy?
What a shot. That was, I think, relief at the end. If kind of we did enough, there was a bit of ball spillage and all of that, and then cut down again onto a penalty. It was kind of relief, and then it went, right, here we go, next job. Don't lose this game, this is our game. And we found a way and won it.
And that purple patch that you had in the first half, you seemed to really catch them. The impressive thing was how you kept playing, you didn't just rest on your laurel.
Yeah, I think we said it all week. If we work hard, we run for each other, we put ourselves in positions, then we'll get the rewards. It might not happen there, it might not happen in the first 10 minutes, first whatever, but we know it will come. As a backline, we hang our hats on putting ourselves in the positions to go and create opportunities, and we've got the lads, we've got the skills to put the ball where it needs to go. Thankfully, to get me on the end of it.
Phil, Lions squad being out on Thursday. I don't know whether any of your players have enhanced their chances, in your opinion.
In my opinion, yeah, of course, and I think that's what we talk about when we talk about the opportunity to play in these big games. Leinster, undoubtedly, both from a personnel point of view and a performance point of view, in their URC and clearly in their knockout games and their group stages of Europe, are one of the best sides if not, one of the best sides in Europe, in the world. And so then for our players to perform and execute on that stage against that group under that pressure, I think speaks volumes about them as individuals as well. So clearly there's loads of matchups today with that narrative in mind, and I think all those players acquitted themselves very well, but all the players who aren't in the spotlight did as well. So rugby's a great team game, and guys coming off the bench who maybe didn't have a lot of fanfare also executed what they were supposed to do and trained hard this week and did the job.
Phil, it's probably difficult to, but what for you was the most pleasing aspect of the victory today?
Always the most pleasing thing is how hard the players work for each other. And I think Dingers just spoke on it there in terms of the connection. You can do incredible things if you really believe in what you're doing. And I think Fraser this week, and actually not this week, this season really, with Ferbs being away from a captaincy point of view, and with guys who've moved on in Courtney Laws, Lewis Ludlam, Alex Waller, leadership elements. People like Fraser Dingwall, Tom Freeman, Alex Coles, in terms of stepping into that space, that's probably the most pleasing thing, is seeing that growth and seeing how hard these players will work for each other. The game is, of course, about skills. It's, of course, about tactical awareness. But it's also about having some heart and working for each other. And I think that's probably the most pleasing thing.
How were you feeling in the end watching that last stand?
Me?
Yeah.
Awful. The thing that was going through my head, and it's probably quite a negative mindset, was if they score here, it feels cruel. And I know sport's cruel and I know sport's unfair, and that's the beauty of it in some ways. But to be leading, I think we led the whole game. I don't know. Did we go 3-0 down? I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But from start to finish, we were winning the game, and then to have lost it in the last minute with a bobbled ball and a referee's decision, was it knock on? Was it reef? Did Colsey release? It's all very, very intricate and subjective, and so the referee makes a decision there. And if we'd lost that, I would have been gutted for the players, because I know how hard they've worked, how much they put into it. I see the lads at halftime blowing, and I'm like, whoosh, that's a tough first 40 minutes. That's what was going through my head. Is it's actually so close, and if we concede here, that just doesn't feel quite right. And what do I say then to try and build them back up? That was what was going through my head. Is and then as soon as we get a reef, I think Joanno took the ball off them on their tap and go. I'd have said to the coaches, we're going to Cardiff, and Sam Vesey broke my glasses. He broke my glasses.
To go into a very different game plan from last year. The way they say, to win big games, you've got to lose them, particularly finals as well. But you're a bit slow out of the blocks last season in the Croke Park game. But this season, this game today, did you go in with a different mindset?
That's probably a good question for the players, I think.
Yeah, completely. I think we reflected on last year, actually, immediately after the game, and I kind of said this to players. In a weird way, it's one of the most enjoyable games I've played in that Croke Park, because I think we took so many learnings from it, and in a way we're actually thankful for that game. I'm not sure we would have won the Prem if we had won that game, for example. And the biggest learning we took from it was that we had to turn up, going from the off, not waiting to see what happened, and that's what happened in this last year's semi-final. We sat and waited too long, and by that point the game had kind of gone from us a little bit. And so the whole message was we were turning up to be the aggressors. We were turning up to chuck our game at them, to go hard from the off, and then adjust and see where that got us initially. These big games, it's all about which team's able to impose their game on the opposition for larger periods of time. And so if you sit and wait and see what the other team are going to do, by that point the game's gone from you. So
you've got to a Champions Cup final now as well, huge occasion. But you were one of those big powerhouses in European rugby a few years ago. Bit of a fallow period in between then. But this is a huge opportunity, obviously, for you as a club to grow, getting to this final now.
Yeah, I think it's a huge opportunity for the playing group. I think it's a huge opportunity for the club. I think it represents how competitive the Premiership is. I think it says a lot about this playing group. And like I said, the experiences, and I think Croke Park was a great one because we understood the history and the cultural importance of that as a venue, as a English team, and the experiences we took from that helped us to be successful later that season and this season. And so I think that was a watershed moment where it spoke a lot to the playing group and it spoke a lot to the support staff as well. And I think this opportunity that's coming up in a couple of weeks in Cardiff will do the same. You're at the top table. You're doing things that you've dreamt of doing. It'd be interesting talking to these lads about their ambitions and where they want to be from a club point of view and also an international and British Lions point of view. And we want to test ourselves against the best sides in the world. We get the opportunity again. We get another opportunity to do that as a group of players.
Phil, could you just say a few words about Henry?
Sorry, which Henry?
There's something, I don't know whether there's something about this wonderful sort of naivety, this youthful, but he's bringing, I don't know whether it's just adding something different.
I actually don't think it's naivety. I think he's very bright. I think it's exuberance. I think he sees the game as a game, and I think he enjoys being in that. And I think that enjoyment and that fun is something that is magnetic, or what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's infectious, yeah. And it's infectious, and it breeds and it goes through the team, and then these lads bring it in different ways. But it's really obvious how Henry does it. I think the best clip I'd show of that would be him running on for his first cap, and all the team are giving him abuse effectively and slapping him, and the boys are getting around him and making a fuss because he's had an impact in training. Because he actually doesn't care too much about what people think. He wants to go and play, and he wants to be competitive. And I think that's that infectious energy for the playing group, for the coaching group, is really positive. I think Curtis Langdon has that as well. I think he has that sort of desire to be competitive, and I think that is something we should celebrate.
Because it's quite unusual in this sport where it's quite hierarchical. You put your time in, you earn your stripes. Sometimes it seems quite unusual for someone to not.
I think it's a meritocracy. I think if you're playing well, you get the opportunity to play, and he's playing very well. And he's playing well because he believes in his ability and he enjoys the game. And I think whether you're playing a mini-team game where we're playing Guess Who, or we're playing tennis, or we're playing rugby, he's going to be the same person. And so Tommy's the same. He's somebody who no occasion's too big for him. He's very confident in his own ability, and he wants to go and enjoy that, and he won't be too het up by that. But at the same time, don't mistake that for not being driven and ambitious and disciplined, and all those sorts of things as well. So it's a great approach. It's really good to coach him.
Tommy, what's it like to score 3 tries in a Rugby Cup semi-final, and maybe tomorrow people are going to be talking about the flanker?
Yeah, obviously delighted. It's always nice going over the whitewash, but to be honest, I was more relieved of how well we played for 8 minutes, really. I'm not trying to be humble, because I'm not that humble all the time. But no, generally, I think, the fight we showed as a team, and obviously it's a team game, and you've got to rely on lads like Dingers and Hutch and Finn and Mitch and those boys to put the ball in the right space. And if you can't do that, then it is what it is. But always nice going over the whitewash, and in a special game as well. It'll definitely be with me forever.
Phil, when you said you looked at Leinster against Harlequins and Glasgow, did you look back at the finals they lost over the last 3 years to see, the areas when it came down the stretch that Leinster kind of didn't have the answer, or?
No, not really, to be honest. We looked at the results in terms of their record, but we didn't look at their games per se, because that's in the past. The games against Glasgow and Harlequins are games that are really relevant because they're a month ago.
Elaborate a little bit on that, just because it was felt like they weren't tested. How much could you see from what Glasgow or Harlequins?
Yeah, I think what we took out of the Glasgow game was, I've got a huge amount of respect for Franco Smith and what he does at Glasgow in terms of an attacking team. Likewise, Quins, Billy Millard and Danny Wilson, they're good attacking teams, and to be nilled was stark. And so we had to, and it wasn't anything that we changed particularly. We've played against Exeter, who have a very, very strong blitz D, press D, whatever you want to call it. And there's certain things in our game that are flexed when that happens. Our ethos, our game plan doesn't change per se. How we do that, and we talked about playing through the press, understanding when we're on the back foot, all those sorts of elements, shortening the passes up, ball in the air, all these sorts of elements And we talked about them, then we trained them, then we executed them, then we put them under pressure, and then we did it again, effectively. And so I think those games gave us an idea of what Leinster are trying to do, and actually what in our game, and Dingers and Finn spoke about this very well. Here's what they do, this is what's important for Saints to do. Okay, what does that change? It doesn't change how we're going to play the game, it changes small nuance around our attacking shape.
Phil, the cameras cut to your coaching box as we go through the game in the TV coverage. You're laughing a lot, there's quite a lot of smiling going on you and Sam. Is that because the team are doing exactly what you expected them to do, or were they surprised?
I think that's because we enjoy the game. Sam's mental. And says some stuff in the game which is very funny. And I think we, at this point, the coaching group has an impact Monday to Thursday, I'd say, if not Monday to Wednesday. And then we leave it to these gentlemen here to drive that message, and we have lots and lots of dialogue in between. And once the game starts, the impact I can have is encouraging messages before the game, some technical changes at half-time or awareness at half-time, and then substitutes. The rest of the time, we're just so invested in these lads, trying to encourage these lads to play well. And we don't get to enough semi-finals ever. We don't get to enough finals ever. And so as a coaching group, we want to enjoy those experiences as well. So when HP or these boys score tries, we're going to enjoy that. There's times where we're shouting and we're frustrated as well. But it's an opportunity to be enjoyed. It's a game that we want to enjoy.